Welcome to the Nurses Breakroom. It's not a place we get to visit very often in real life, but you're always welcome to come and recharge here. And while you're at it, head to selfcareisn'tselfish.com and grab your free copy of my book, Self-Care Isn't Selfish, The Compassionate Nurse's Step-by-Step Guide to Personalized Stress Relief. It's packed with simple, effective strategies to help you prioritize your needs without guilt so you can feel energized, focused, and ready to take on the day. Grab yours at selfcareisn'tselfish.com. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Nurses Breakroom with Jenny Lytle, RN. I want to share a little bit of something that I have figured out over the past couple of weeks, honestly, and I wonder if it might be something that you are dealing with too, or maybe you've ever experienced. So I have a lot of things going on right now in my life. I am working full-time hours, but I work PRN jobs to allow me flexibility to be able to do the things that I'm passionate about, like really building my business. My faith is very important to me. And I believe that several years ago, 19 years ago now, God led me to hospice. And there is so much that I love about that. But I also believe that for the past several years, He's been leading me in a different direction, and I am so passionate about working with nurses and other caregivers just to really help you realize how important it is to take care of yourselves. And in doing that, it helps keep that at the forefront of my mind too. But here's a funny little confession for you. I realized that in all of the things that I'm doing and the connections that I'm making and the people that I'm talking to and the things that I'm reading and learning and all of that, that I was getting rather overwhelmed in a lot of ways myself. And I realized that I was struggling with being able to fit everything in that I wanted to fit in. And that kind of added to my stress. And so I was escaping. I hadn't done a lot of fiction reading for a long time. And over the summer, I started doing a bit more of that. But again, I didn't feel like I really had the time that I wanted to spend on that. So I was listening to audiobooks instead, and I was listening to some psychological thrillers, and I really enjoyed that. But what I realized is that that was my escape from all of the things that I had to do and wanted to do, but sometimes I just felt like my brain needed a break. And so I would listen to those while I was doing different things. And so I really wasn't giving myself much downtime. I've constantly had something going. And not only that, but the things that I was listening to weren't things that were making my life any better, giving me any new ideas, things like that. And I guess you don't want to get a lot of new ideas from listening to psychological thrillers. But what I figured out is that doing that, taking that escape time, which it could be TV. And I've done that with TV too, where I'm just like, I just need a break. But yes, it's a break, but it's a distraction. It's not really a recharge. Now, I'm not saying that, that TV or books are bad. That's not what I mean at all. But I really personally had to question, is this what I want to be doing? And I had realized over the past couple of weeks, when I restarted my morning devotional time, that having that time to spend in quiet, and yes, I'm reading things, but still my mind is slower, and I'm able to spend some time in prayer and just really in reflection about everything that's going on in my life. And I've been doing some more journaling. And as I've done that, I realized that I'm more aware of the things that aren't fitting well into my life. And a big part of that is listening to a psychological thriller over the course of a day or two or maybe three. And so yesterday, I went to church, and before and after that, I was doing some things. And what I found is that in that time, I was able to, instead of listening to something that was an escape, but wasn't really making me feel better or more rested, that I was able to listen to a podcast that I'd been meaning to listen to as a preview for possibly wanting to get on their podcast. And I listened to a couple of other short things that are things that are going to enhance my own life and my practice with clients. And I felt more rested because I had done those things that were important to me and that are going to enhance my life. And it's made me more curious about what are other ways that I am trying to maybe escape from things that if I just embraced them and handled them without trying to avoid them, then maybe I would have more peace and not feel like I needed an escape as much. So, something for you to consider as well. And I thank you so much for tuning in. This is the start of season 2, and I'm so glad that you're here. And I want you to remember that in the midst of everything that you are doing for everybody else, self-care isn't selfish. It's essential if we want to continue to care for others and live our best lives. Have a great week.
Disclaimer. Although I am a registered nurse, the medical and health information contained in this podcast is provided for general information and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice. Therefore, before taking any actions based upon such information, I encourage you to consult with appropriate professionals. I do not provide any specific medical or health advice, and the use of or reliance on any information contained in this podcast is solely at your own risk.